Welcome back to another review. Today we're going to be looking at the Lightning Collection Alien Ranges, and this is the biggest Lightning Collection box ever, considering there are 5 ranges. And I kind of think like we should have this for most teams that aren't going to get like brought out singly. I would wholeheartedly do that, have this, something like this for more time. But let's look at this. The box looks absolutely fantastic. Again, don't know why there are alien things. I don't know if that's attacking or whatever, but I really love this artwork. On the side, it's in the same text. It's in the same text as the font, so it's Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. On the back, we have all of them. Now, it doesn't have holsters for the back of the Rangers, which I don't know if this is going to be a thing where they release it much later on again and be like, oh hey, guess what? They're the Alien Rangers. They have holsters in their back. So I hope they don't do that. I just hope this is the only set. So we can see that you've got your Rangers here: white, blue, black, red, and yellow. Which again, yellow's the one that we all kind of want to know. Does it actually have the big stamp thing, like the logo? We'll find out. On the side, I really like this. You have the helmets right there, and it says at the top, Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. You can see there. At the top, it's just black. At the bottom is just basic information. So yeah, let's open all of this up and have a look inside. If you want to hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on all notifications, as well as check out the channel memberships. So let's jump straight into this. This is what you get inside. Now, I'm a little bit annoyed, and I know it's little things like this, but for considering the price, you'd think that packaging these Rangers up a little bit better, or a little bit more would be better. There are rips everywhere with these plastic bags, so this to me doesn't feel right already. It feels like there could be some like issues. Here is the Yellow Ranger. I think this is a really cool. I really like the way of the color. Very simple, very basic, but I really do kind of like it. The black really stands out on the yellow and as well as the white, and it looks really cool. Now, each of their logos are completely different. On the belt buckles, you've got the holster, you've got just everything. The ripples look absolutely fine. The only thing that annoys me is one of the figures has a different neck, and it's really weird, and I don't know why. Looking at the back of the figure, I generally really like it. I feel like it's plain, it's simple, it's what is needed. You do get a hole because you do get a holster, which is a really nice. I generally thought you got nothing in it. The butterfly joints are absolutely fine. The belt is fine, and on the back it's just as normal. Even when you get a close-up right there, like you've got the triangle right there, and the helmet looks fine. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Zeo for some strange, bizarre reason, but you get kind of a nice kind of close-up, and again, it's really nice, the belt buckle, everything. It's a really kind of nice little figure. Now I want to see how here is, because again, like when opening this in the box, he wasn't the greatest, but you know, knee joints seem to be quite stiff, which is really, really nice for the figure itself, because we don't normally get that either. Some figures are weird, but nice articulations in the legs. Feels really stiff, feels like as soon as you're going to pose him, he's going to be, you know, he won't move. When you move him like that, that's absolutely fine. Hands spin around, okay. Hands spin around, okay. Arm joints are absolutely fine. And they've got the butterfly joint, which I think is a really nice addition, or has been for a while. Now the head spins all the way around. It moves up and down, need be, and you can pose it in a certain way, which is good. But we'll take note of the neck, because that's what's coming up next. So White Ranger, very nice. Delphine is really, really cool. I really like the way the colors. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Turbo when I'm looking at the triangle here, but I generally kind of think it looks awesome. Now, the one thing I have noticed, all the necks are very stiff, or literally don't move on the guys, but literally this one feels like it's just, it could pop off at any time. Now, it's not even joined properly, and if we zoom in, you can see that it looks like it's coming off, and I really don't like that. I'd rather it have the same neck as all of them, so I don't know why hers is completely different towards the others. So moving back to the figure, it looks really nice. It does remind me of Turbo. I really do like the symbol on the helmet, and I really like the gold trim around it. I actually do like this suit. I think it's actually really, really cool. The white and the black, I think, to be fair, the only three colors, gold, black, and white, work really, really well in this one. It does feel like it's a body from one of the previous girls. I like the skirt. I think the skirt looks really, really well, and obviously we have the hole in the back for the actual sword. So I generally really think this is a really, really nice figure. Like, I can't really tell if there's any kind of like problems with it so far, but let's have a look. So the foot is a little bit loose. I wouldn't say majorly. It's not like a major fault. And again, like, it feels really hard to kind of bend these knees. Like, I really don't know. Again, people can say, oh, you can put it in hot water. I generally don't think you should. But yeah, you can bend the knees like so. I'd say that this is a bit too loose, and the feet do kind of are a bit So I think that maybe out of all of them so far, even though we just tested one, this might be the one that needs quality control, which is a shame because I really like the figure. Legs move around. So the plastic feels a little bit different on each. Leg goes up. Hands turn around quite well, and stuff like that. And then you can literally see if you can bend it. Now this figure is a little bit stiff, and again, just the head turns all the way around. It's not my all-time favorite, but it's annoying. It's a really nice figure. That's the problem. The arm is a little bit loose, I would say, compared to, say, that one. So I'm not happy on that one a little bit. Yeah, I mean, not bad for what she is. Red Ranger now, I generally really like the red one. I like, again, the black and the red works well. The white color is spot on. I feel like that's very crisp, very clear. Or even on his like hands, all of this looks cool. This is one that I was generally thinking about cosplaying, or even yellow, but I just generally like it. You've got the circle on his helmet there, which we can see in a minute, which we'll do a close-up. And then here, it kind of also reminds me of like Time Fire. Like, I think if they're going to redo this, Time Fire is going to be, this is be the body. There's a little bit of on his kind of like foot there. It just, I think it generally doesn't kind of work. I think it's just like pulled out of the factory. Now his arms, oh, I was going to say his arm's going to be really hard to kind of like pose. But again, the butterfly joints are great. His cuffs are fine, and the back of his legs are. So again, I kind of really like it for what it is. Looking at the helmet, I just generally really like it. But again, notice the neck. There's hardly any kind of movement from it, which is fine. But I really like the paint job on this helmet alone for some strange, bizarre reason. But they've got it like kind of spot on, which I'm all here for. I love this helmet. I'm so tempted to cosplay as this Ranger. Let's try here. Like, it feels weird because all these figures, like each one is completely different when it comes to testing. Like, it's too thick, too thin. Sorry, no, too tight, too loose. I never understand why. But I'm guessing it's just the way that each figure is. Okay, legs move. So that clicking sound is like, he's able to pose a little bit more, I think. Hands turn around. So definitely kind of a load more clicking than normal, which is kind of fine. Like, I kind of feel like that's how a figure is. It's like it's like broken in. So head turns around like so, and kind of moves about, so you can pose it no matter what. It's quite cool, to be fair. So yeah, again on the back, if I haven't mentioned, you've got the head. It looks like Zero Ranger 5 for some strange reason. You've got the peg hole. You've got everything there. Again, the color of it looks absolutely fine. I think I like the blacks and whites. Again, loads of different things come across to mind, like Don Momotaro, Zero Ranger 5, as I said, Quantum Ranger. So they could easily reuse this portion of the body and all this, because it definitely just reminds me of it. And here is one of my personal favorite Rangers. I really like him. I think he's really, really cool. The one thing I will say about this Ranger is that the black on his kind of like his symbol isn't as kind of standoffish, like not standoffish, but kind of like it pops like all the others have so far. But I generally kind of really like the actual outfit itself. Belt buckle is, again, very different towards the others. The whites and blacks work really, really well on this one. I really like the way it's kind of incorporated. I think that maybe this one could just stand out a little bit more. Helmet is absolutely fine, square on there. I like the fact that they're all different. The visor is painted absolutely spot on, which I generally really, really like. There is no spillage I can see paint-wise. Even looking at the back of the figure, peg hole for the actual sword, which works really, really well. I generally really like the way it all is. Now let's see what his is like. See, again, like as I mentioned before, like it feels really weird. Like his knee and his leg instantly move quickly compared to like all the others. Like so. Moves around like so. Now, is this one gonna crack like the others? A little bit. So yeah, so he does move. I think he's more flexible than all the others. It's not loose as well, which is quite nice. The arms go up, arms go up. Now, it feels like it's catching a little bit, and his body's now a little bit loose after the kind of crack, which is, I think, okay. I don't know just yet. So his hands turn around. Other hand turns around like that. Again, it's really weird that he's got like a one-piece neck, so it's not going to change whatsoever. Yeah, it does turn all around, and so it generally kind of works really well. So this has just happened with mine. When posing him, this came straight out, and that's kind of really upsetting for how much the entire set is. Now, hopefully this can be fixed, but again, just by popping it back in. But I generally kind of think this shouldn't have been the case. So yeah, a little bit annoyed, but I'm hoping the others don't do it, so I'm going to try them out a little bit more. But yeah, I wanted to kind of add this in as I was getting ready to pose it with the other ones. I'm trying to put his arm back in, and even when you push it in, when you kind of pose it, it just comes out. So even if you slot it back in and kind of push it, it will literally just come out straight away. I'm kind of really annoyed considering the price that you pay for the figure, but you know, it's actually in there. And actually I'm pushing it as far in as I can, but it just comes straight out. Also, to show this as well, putting it in straight and then pushing as hard as I can, like that. Move the arm, comes out, which is not good in my eyes. And here is the Black Ranger. He is really, really cool. I love the white and the gold trim. It works really, really well, and it kind of stands out. Very kind of reminds me of the Phantom Ranger for some strange, bizarre reason. Mainly, it could just be the way the helmet is, and then obviously the way the body is. It just looks like it to me a little bit, which is kind of cool. But I really like the white trim. I really like the gold. It works really well. It feels like it's kind of painted more like blotches on the white down to his boots. But again, that could just be the fact of where it was pulled from the mold. The back of the figure, I think, looks really cool. You've got the hole in the back. You've got the arms right there. The gold trim works really, really well. I generally really like it. The helmet is, I think, pretty much painted correctly. You've got the thin white line around there. I think it looks absolutely kind of spot on. I wanted to try and do his stress test. Like, part of me is thinking, what could go wrong? Really loose on his leg there. So again, it's not hard to bend. It feels quite smooth, to be fair, but considering out of all of them, like there's not been much kind of problems with it. That just kind of really annoys me, because that feels like that could not break. Like when you compare it to there, it's fine, but that is just not on in my eyes. I don't like it. So again, it's the third thing I found so far on these figures. Moves quite okay. Now let's see if his arms, and I'm very kind of dubious because that obviously happened there. So arms go up to some degree, hands turn around like that. Quite loose in that one. You know, out of 5, you know, he's probably a 2, but the arms do move. I'd say his joints are way too loose when it comes here compared to the other ones. Head spins around like that, moves up and down. So it does kind of work. Body, I think, is a little bit kind of too loose. It does click, but I generally kind of think this could have been done a little bit better, but what can you do right now? So these are all the accessories that you get on the box, and I think nowhere did it show the sheaths where you can actually put them into the back of the figure. They have the hole type thing. So if we have a closer look, you can see that there is the place to actually put it into the back of the actual Ranger. You get the lightning effects, 2 kind of blasts. Now, I really wish they included them for all of these because it would have made more sense, and then a whole set of these, because obviously you're paying quite a lot of money and it would be kind of nice to actually have all of them. So you get the kind of the daggers, you get the guns, you get the swords, and I'm going to show you something on the swords because I think it's really, really cool, but also you get different hands with it as well. Now I want to kind of keep this in shot and hopefully you can see. On the hilt of the thing, right there, well not the hilt, but it actually has the correct one. Now I will give Hasbro props for this, this is amazing. But you can see that this one will correspond with each Ranger. When I was looking at all of them, I was like, damn, that's really impressive. Like, to go that beyond onto kind of detail works really, really well. I thought it might be something on the sword here. But when you kind of look, at each one, that's what I kind of like to see. It actually works really, really nice. So you know which one goes with which, even though you could easily just place them with any. But it's really nice that they've put that kind of attention to detail, just like so. But even if we look at the blades, but even if we look at the swords. Now I generally thought that we may have them on there. But to be fair, rather than going through every single one, it's exactly the kind of same. You've got the kind of blade there, or the kind of jaggedness, which is really, really nice. And then when you look at the pistols, it looks really, really nice for what it is. So they've added this. I think this is my favorite kind of blaster so far. And I think it'd been kind of cool if it was actually on there in the show too. I haven't seen Kaku Ranger, so, but can you imagine if it was on there too? I generally would give them tons of kudos. I love the red, I love the black and gold. It works really, really well. And for them to go this kind of far for each one, to me is absolutely perfect. I like the attention to detail. I think it's actually fantastic for what you see. Yeah, just want to show you all the parts to it. I'm really glad that they added the sheaths to it. It kind of like, if you wanted to pose it properly, then I think this really works on like multiple levels. So it kind of adds a little bit more if you wanted to kind of have 1 or 2 without them. One thing I probably would have done is I would have made the holster big enough for the blaster, because I have no way of putting it in, like not unless they hold it or something. But it kind of like, if they made it so it's big enough for that as well, I think this would have been cool, because the ones in there at the moment are the kind of like the, what do you call it, like the small swords, the daggers effectively. And I think I would rather have had the guns be able to be in the holster. Now you can put it in, but it doesn't kind of fit properly. Like it would ruin the holster in a way. But for this sort of pose, I think it's pretty cool. So even like this, it really, really works well. I'm really excited for this because I think they look really, really cool. I think that they add more to it. I don't know why at the very bottom, it feels like, you know, even the swords don't go all the way in, but it has like a small hole. Like for some strange reason, it's just like there's a small hole in it. So I don't know what's that there for. Maybe they weren't too sure if like the blades were gonna like pop out at the bottom or something. But I really like this. I like this addition to it. It looks really, really cool for what it is. And I'm glad that they just didn't forget and like, oh, hey, here are the swords and stuff like that. And there we go. There are the Alien Rangers. To me, they look absolutely stunning. I really like this team. I'm not a huge fan of the Alien Rangers, but having a full team like this to me is absolutely fantastic. And I really, really like this. I think this is probably one of my favorite sets of the Lightning Collection that we don't normally get them at all. So I'm really happy with this. Now, the downside to it is basically Blue's arm constantly falling off. The neck joint of the White Ranger really annoy the shit out of me, considering how much money this cost. At the time of recording, this was sent from Hasbro Direct, and it was at $118.99. So when you kind of think of the price that you're paying for a full set, you would imagine that they would go to town to make sure that the quality control on this is absolutely fantastic. That is one thing that you would wholeheartedly do. If it was like a single figure, I could understand and whatever. But apart from that, like, these are really nice figures. These are ones that I would highly recommend. I really like the weapons. Now, I would have liked another holster, and I kind of wish another holster should have been there for the gun at least, because I feel like, what are you going to do with them? Like, you're just going to put the guns back in, or you're going to pose it and then that's it. So for me personally, I would still highly recommend this. I like the suits, I like the figures, and it's really nice to actually have a full team complete. And I kind of wish that Hasbro would do this for other teams. It's like, hey, guess what? Like, you know, Operation Overdrive or Mystic Force. I think that would be really, really well. I do think the packaging could have been 10 times better. Each of the the wrappers have been kind of ripped, and that's really annoyed me on like different levels, because as being a collector, I would like things perfectly perfectly in the box as you can get. The figure itself, great. I think the packaging could easily have been done better, and yeah, I think giving every single Ranger the kind of Lightning Collection, like for the swords, for the blasters, I think that works well. Yes, you can take it from other ones, but I think that you should be able to kind of have them in an entire set. But for what you get, I think it's kind of almost worth the price. I would probably say £100 or $100 for this set. I'm just a little bit annoyed at my Blue Ranger figure being broken, and obviously the neck on the White Ranger. But apart from that, highly recommend, would probably get again. I just kind of think that if they're going to release it with weapons, I feel like we're going to get another set later on down the line with their big weapons. But with this, I'm kind of really content with it for now. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Would you get this team? Are you kind of skipped it because you want to see if they'll come down in price? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. And have you had any problems with your figures? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help does go a long way to support the channel. And if you want to consider helping the channel, then links to my Patreon as well as the channel members are listed below.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。